I want to ask you, Canelo fighting Bivol. They're saying that they are saying that that's done. What do you think about that fight? How do you see that?
I don't know, man. I don't see Bivol beating Canelo. Um, I used to be a big fan of him when he was, with HBO and all of that. When he was barely kind of getting his career started. But yeah, he has surprised me a lot, man. Recently, and Canelo has, and I don't see anybody beating Canelo. He's the top dog right now, and his confidence is through the roof. And I think that's the most important part. He trains with confidence. He's got character, and he walks around with it. He walks around with it. That's the most important part. He goes into his press conference with it. He's just I'm the guy, and the guy standing right there mean that shit, and that'll scare a fighter and anybody else. You got someone in the room with that type of confidence that intimidates you. And that's what's been happening, and he's earned that. He's earned that. He's got credentials. If you want to check him, he's got the credentials. He's got all these type of names under his belt, so you can't really check him, and that's what I was trying to tell people for the Plant fight. A lot of people was like, "Oh, but I like Plant's mentality." I was like, "Okay, yeah, but I mean, if you sit down Canelo with Plant and you compare their records, Canelo all day, he's got the credentials, and I was telling he walks around with this. So how are you gonna intimidate Canelo, or how are you gonna get in his head when he's got all that behind him. He's got all that to back him up."
You being a fighter, is that what I guess amazes you on what it takes to for them to accomplish it? Like once a guy does all this, you know how good he is. So that's why when people be like, "Oh, well, this guy's gonna beat him just cause," you kind of like like, nah, it's not that easy because you know how good a guy is. You know what you have to accomplish to be that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. And that's why I'll go back to my career, and that's why I've been through Javier Molina, Brian Mendoza, Vladimir Hernandez. Those are three top guys that you can't take away from me. I got that, and if we continue that. We keep continue beating these guys with names. That's something that nobody's gonna take away from me, and that's the same thing with Canelo. You can't take. Man, even his loss with Floyd Mayweather, you can't take that away from him. He was in there, he was in there with Canelo. He learned a lot. He was in there with Lara, man, right? Right after that, he was in there with Cotto. And you can say whatever you want, that Cotto was small or whatever, but he was in there with them, and I'm sure he took a lot of things away from that fight. He was in there with Triple G, and that. He went through all of that to get here, and no one's gonna take that away from him. That journey, all the experiences that he got during this journey. That no one's gonna take that from him. So when he shows up, to whichever fight, you better, you can have the right mindset. You can have anything, but you better have worked as hard as him or even harder to beat him. And all those names that he beat, you better have something similar to that. And that's why that's what I think everyone lacks right now. Who's gonna face him? Bivol, Triple G. He's got names, but he's too old, man. So it's no point.
Is Canelo a guy that inspires you? Because Canelo made a lot of his bones first at 154, and then he started moving up. So is that a guy that you look at as you could kind of follow in the same path?
Yeah, man. Of course, Canelo is an inspiration. Not only to boxers, but especially Mexicans. He was a Mexican. He's a Mexican who came into the U.S. and made a name for himself. In a country that wasn't his, and that's an inspiration, man. And seeing that he'll go win millions one night, Monday afternoon, he's already back in the gym, like if he was broke. It's crazy to me, and that's I want to have that hunger. I want to have his hunger, and that's why I look up to him.
Now the 154-pound weight class. Let the fans know how that's going to be your weight class. How you're coming into this weight class, and eventually who. who would you rather fight, Charlo or Castano? If you have to pick one.
I'd pick Castaño, man. I'd pick Castaño. I think that'd be a firefight. But to answer your other question, I think I'm can continue to make these statements, man. I think that's essential. You know, I don't believe in talking. I don't believe in oh, I'm gonna put this guy on notice, or the 54-pound division better be on notice. That's dumb. You know, I'm gonna continue to perform like I did in my last fight. I'm gonna continue to beat those type of guys. You know that are up there in this division, and then continue to make statements, and until I get that opportunity to fight for the world title.
You feel like the truth will just eventually come out in the ring, and they can't deny what you do in the ring.
Exactly, man. Exactly. That's the main thing. So get to that point where they can't deny me anymore, and that's kind of like I said like I said with the Instagram followers. Floyd Mayweather, when he was coming up, everybody was high on Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar De La Hoya this, Oscar De La Hoya that. Floyd Mayweather, he was fighting the top guys, man. I mean, he had Corrales, Gatti, Castillo, all these guys, Hatton, and nobody was paying attention to him. It was just Golden Boy, Golden Boy, Golden Boy. But he was over here taking names, and once it was time to prove it, he proved it, and then he did whatever he wanted. Then he started showing, then he started talking shit because he could back it up. Well, what were you gonna tell him? He went into the same thing with that Canelo is doing right now. What are you gonna tell him? I mean, he's got the names under his resume. So what are you gonna tell him?
Do you feel like it's important to you to stay true, to never change up, just to stay humble, to stay like you said, your favorite fighter is Ricardo Finito Lopez. You like him because of how he's humble, he's a gentleman. Do you feel like that's important to you, just to stay true to yourself and not change up?
Yeah, I think that's essential for me, and I mean that's the way I was raised. My family from Mexico, we're humble. Um, and every time I talk to my grandparents, dad, mom, that's all they tell me. Just stay humble. I mean, this world changes every day. You just never know. One day you can be up, the next you're down, and you don't have any friends. It's gonna be rough. So just stay humble. Every dog has their day, man. So just keep working.
Man, thanks so much, brother. It was a pleasure speaking with you today. Let the fans know where they can catch you at social media. If they do want to be followers, let them know where they can catch you at.
Jesus Ramos Jr. underscore on Instagram, bro, and Jesus Ramos Jr. on Twitter and Facebook. I got my YouTube channel, Jesus Mono Ramos. I didn't do a vlog for this last training camp, but I usually do vlogs about my training camps, and yeah, man, it's pretty cool.
All right, thanks so much.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate it.